Hi, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Wealth Strategies podcast with our host, Alan Porter. Alan, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing well. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. We've had a lot of rainstorms here, but looking forward to the weekend.
All right. Our topic today is the phone call that changed your life. Alan, what are you talking about?
Well, Neil, you know I'm retired military and I had a mortgage in a real estate business. But in 2009, I went down to Little Rock, Arkansas, where my son lived with his wife, Lynn. She was 39 at the time. They had two little girls. Well, we came back on January 5th. We got a phone call from Lynn. He said, "Alan, I've been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and they've given me 6 months to live." Of course, we were absolutely devastated. But there's a huge financial for my son's family now because he'd been disabled for over 3 years and still not getting his disability. He finally got his disability that summer. But I'm helping him out. But I was like 99% of the people at that time, Neil, that thought life insurance was a death product, that you had to die to benefit from it. Little did I know, she had a terminal illness rider on that life insurance policy that let her access the death benefit, which was completely tax free. I had no idea about it. And if it had not been for that, my son would be bankrupt, and it took a huge financial strain off of me. Now, basically, she died a year later, and we moved our son back here with the two girls. My oldest one is now a junior in North Carolina. She's studying to be a doctor.
Wow, that's a tremendous story. You had something else happen also, didn't you?
Well, I'm, at this point, I'm thinking, what more? Well, about a year after Lynn died, my daughter Nicole, who's an oncology nurse and her husband's a doctor, had given birth to my third grandson. About a month after that, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was very bad. We didn't think she was going to live. Well, last month, we celebrated 10 years of her being cancer free. But last year, she was diagnosed with Graves' disease and bulging eye syndrome. And there's a drug out there, it's called Tripeza, and you get 8 transfusions of this drug. And the first one was like $32,000. The last one was almost $250,000. Well, that was last May of 2023. I think January, February, the bulging eye syndrome came back. She went to a doctor in March. The doctor told her, "Nicole, I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do for you until you go blind, and then we can operate." But what a prognosis. They tried to get her in a study at Duke. She didn't qualify for it because she used Tripeza. But thank God she just got back from the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where she was there for 4 days for consultations and tests. And they got something that may help her. There's no guarantee, but it's only about 70% effective. And I'm praying that something can be done because she's absolutely miserable. But if it had not been for insurance products, my family would be financially devastated. And I mean, it's for my clients themselves too. And some of my family may not even be alive.
Okay. What about your brothers, Alan?
Well, one of the things I talk about all the time is long-term care. And now I'm 71, my brother is 75. And last year we had to put him in a nursing home. The state patrol called his daughter up and said, "You need to come pick up your father. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's very disoriented." They caught him going down the interstate in the wrong direction. He's lucky he didn't kill himself and somebody else. He's got Alzheimer's. It's a very, very sad disease. He still remembers me. I talk to him every couple of weeks, but he tells me the same thing 5 to 6 times in 10 minutes. And it's just a very sad disease. But my other brother, and I tell people you need to protect your family because if something happens to you and they lose that income, what are you going to do? Well, he was diagnosed with lung cancer 3 years ago in November, and he died the last part of December. And he had just a very, very small life insurance policy. So these things, I'm firsthand about the knowledge of what's happened to me, and I want to express it. I want to protect people. My goal, both personally and professionally, is protection of your assets and protection of your family. But I've become very, very passionate about what I do because people don't know what's out there. I show people how to think outside the box of conventional financial planning and teach them about insurance and insurance products.
Now, I mean, and then what has this really taught you? Because this is the
Uh,
key component.
Absolutely. It's like I said, I want to teach people the financial strategies the wealthy and the banking institutions have been using for years. Insurance, they say insurance is not a good investment. I hear that from Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey all the time. Well, it's not an investment. It's in an asset class all its own. It's the only financial vehicle that has all these benefits that a stock portfolio doesn't. I'll mention some. It grows tax deferred. It can be a tax deduction if it's set up properly in a retirement plan. But it's a grows tax deferred. You get your distributions tax free. It does not affect the taxation of Social Security, nor the means testing for Medicare Part B, which will be in the thousands per year. You're protected from lawsuits, liens, and judgments. You have tax-free money to pay for long-term care for pennies on the dollar. You can become your own bank. You're protected from probate, which will decimate people's retirement. I mean, their legacy. It's the greatest college funding vehicle available out there. I know I've got 2 whole life policies for my granddaughters for their college education. And little people don't know this, but the insurance companies have the best tax code approved, tax-free retirement system available today, bar none, that eliminate the risk in retirement that a stock portfolio, bond portfolio, real estate, money market funds, or mutual funds only compound, such as sequence of returns risk, which the vast majority of people don't know. The number one fear in retirement, running out of money before you run out of life. Government risk and tax risk, which is absolutely huge. People have no idea about these things. Just in a Congressional Budget Office report in the fall of 2022 on a debt of $31 trillion, they put out that if taxes aren't raised overall by 66% by the year 2030, the country can't even pay the interest on the debt and they will go bankrupt. Well, what have they done? They've raised interest rates. They print money. It's called quantitative easing. Our economy's in shambles. But I want to educate people on what's out there. Now, I used to be a registered investment advisor where I did, stocks and bonds, charged a fee, but that's against my thinking. I don't like charging people a fee whether they make money or not. Now, I have people on my team because I have a team of people I work with that if you want a stock and bond portfolio, that's fine. But you need to be diversified. And when I mean diversified, not diversified in the stock market. You have to have different buckets of money in retirement. And Neil, in retirement, it's not about rate of return. It's about distribution of your assets. But I have a team of people that I collaborate with, top CPAs, tax-specific attorneys, and other specialists in the fields, and we collaborate together to come up with solutions for people's financial problems. I deal with a lot of affluent clients, millionaires, and they always tell me, "Oh, Alan, my CPA, my attorney, my financial advisor give me all my tax and business advice. I mean, all my tax and financial advice." I said, "That's fine. I'm not here to replace any of your advisors, but I want to work with them as a team to give you the best possible financial scenario." Now, here's the thing. I've got 2 questions for these people. When's the last time any of your advisors ever gave you any proactive advice on saving taxes? It's slim to never. And the other question I've got for them, you may have the greatest advisors in the world, but it's what they don't know that will end up costing you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in undue taxes, fees, and lost opportunity costs. Not everybody can know everything, but my specialists are specialists in their field. It's like, would you go to your family doctor if you have to have an operation on your heart? No, you go to a cardiologist. That's who I have in my team, our specialists. And what I do in a nutshell, Neil, I show people how to reduce and possibly eliminate both debt and taxes, possibly set them up with a tax-free retirement, show them how they become their own bank, borrowing from themselves and paying themselves back and eliminating the effective interest costs they pay on the money that they borrow and compound interest for them instead of the financial institutions. Now, I did this just a couple of weeks ago when I bought my new car. I borrowed the price of the car from my cash value life insurance, and I'm going to pay myself back. I'm not going to have a car, and in about 3 years, I'll have thousands more dollars in my cash value, because when I take money out of my cash value, it does nothing against the cash value. That remains the same, continues to compound. What happens? It's put on it's a debit against a lien against your death benefit. You don't even have to pay the loan back if you don't want to. The only people who are going to suffer are your beneficiaries. But the other thing, Neil, I do is, like I said before, I protect people from the risk in retirement that a stock portfolio only compounds. And I've added a couple of scenarios that also is absolutely huge for people. If you got health care with Aetna or Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example, we could save you 30 to 70% of your premiums with a lower deductible and a lower copay. And you have your choice of doctors. Another thing that I have is a health wellness program that's unmatched by anything I've seen. I'm a certified financial fiduciary and a certified tax and business advisor. And I just got that last certification this last spring. And I found out about some tax codes 105, 106, 214D, and tax code 125. And this health wellness program conforms with that. And what it is, it's no net cost to the employer. But if you have a business with 10 employees or more, it's going to save that employer over, on average, about $500 every year in FICA taxes, year after year. But what it does for the employee, Neil, it gives them approximately $1,200 a year of tax-free money they can use any way they want to. And that's in accordance with the IRS ruling that came out in 4/3/2024. People do not know this. And $312 billion was lost in production last year due to people being sick. Now, these employees with this health wellness program have a 8% higher production rate and a 7% higher retention rate. And what that does for employees, or excuse me, the employer, it solved problems. His recruitment problem, his retention problem, the revenue problem, and having a much happier employee because he's getting this tax-free money to do with what he wants. And people need to know this, and because it's very simple to do. And if you got a business of 10 employees or more, working at least 30 hours, contact me. But there's so many things out there that people don't know that I've found. Now I've written 8 books now. I got my latest book out, How to Beat the IRS Legally. My co-author is one of the top tax-specific attorneys and CPAs in America, Edward Lyons. I've been seen on all the major networks. As you can see my background, I'm a wealth advisor on Consumer News Network. I'm just very, very passionate about what I've done, or what I do. And now I've been published in over 1,168 publications across the United States. So I feel that I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm very knowledgeable of what I do. I'm not the expert in everything, but if I don't know what I'm doing, then I have experts in my team that will solve people's financial problems.
Right. It's really interesting stuff, Alan. I think the fact is that first thing is if you're a business or an individual, you need to contact Alan today. And if you're a business, you can do multiple ways to save lots on your taxes. We've had some really big experts on the podcast that have told us that. I'm now with and I'm not going to go, you can go political. I won't go political, but how I decide I'm going to run my business in 2025 is all going to depend on November, because there's going to be lots of things that companies and businesses are going to have to do if, the bottom falls out, and it could potentially happen, and we all have to be prepared and see what's the best. And, your taxes might increase 20, 30%, but if you can decrease other costs, then you're not going to take as much of a bottom line hit contacting Alan today.
Well, here's my latest case on the tax savings. Since I got my certification, I found a businessman. He paid $584,000 in taxes last year. He's going to get back over $600,000 because, well, how's that possible? I want to get back more than what you paid in, because he's getting tax credits that his CPA and advisors never told him about. Now, your CPA, like I said, they want numbers put in the right place. He may be doing a good job, but he doesn't expand it. He doesn't increase their knowledge. And the financial planner wants to find you the best investment, and your attorney wants the proper paperwork for legal documents.
And they're looking at numbers. It's a numbers game versus a savings game. And that's why you have to contact Alan today. But that's where I'm at, Alan. I'm like, okay, I'm just sitting and seeing what happens in November. And that's going to be a lot of people looking at that now, because who knows? Are you going to pay so much more in taxes? Like you talked about all the time, predicting this big tax increase. And that means the bottom line is you have to hire the right professionals to still make a good living and be ready for retirement. And the only person to go to is Alan Porter. So you can email you at strategicwealth, the number 0 @gmail.com, call you at 910-551-1046, or go to strategicwealthstrategies.com today. But Alan, you got all of it. You're the one-stop shop now, but you have all these professionals. You have a team of professionals. So it's not just you as a one-man band. You put this all-star team together to make sure that people can be debt free for life, be able to live the life and love the life they live. And I appreciate it, Alan.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you
All
much.
right. That was the Strategic Wealth Strategy.